unstoppable kick-ass confidence. Are you ready?
Welcome to the Raw and Unscripted Show with Christopher Rausch, where we help you overcome your self-created crap without the self-help fluffy bullshit. Now please welcome our host, Christopher Rausch.
And what's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Welcome to Raw and Unscripted with yours truly, Christopher Rausch, the place where I help you overcome your self-created crap without the self-help fluffy bullshit. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And of course, we are here every single week bringing you the raw and unscripted goods designed to move your perspectives, your opportunities, your confidence forward in anything that you're doing. That's the whole purpose of this show, is to bring you the value, to bring you the things that make you question yourself and question the things that you're doing so that you can change some of those things that you're doing and realize that you're so much more capable and so much more deserving of the things that you have in your life right now. So that's what we bring to you on the show every single Tuesday night. Appreciate you guys being here, whether you're live or on the replay. I know we get a lot of people watching this on the replay or listening to this on the podcast. And by the way, if you are watching this, please subscribe to the podcast. It is available wherever podcasts are sold, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, any place that you dig getting your podcast. Subscribe to the Raw and Unscripted Show. I'd appreciate it. Leave us a review if you get value out of this show, because that's what we're here for. We're here to bring you guys value every single week. So as always, questions and comments are welcome. So this is a show with you guys. I tell my guests, I said, it's kind of like me and my guests sitting at a bar or coffee shop. We're having a kick-ass conversation and you guys are kind of sitting at the other tables and you're like, man, what are those guys talking about? You know? And so feel free to ask us questions. Feel free to engage with us. This conversation is with you guys. And overall, we want to stimulate you again to think about things a little bit differently. There's a lot going on in the world today. And we all have an opportunity and I believe a responsibility to always leave the place better than when we got there. And I think about my son who's 5 years old, and I think about the impact that we can all make together in this world to make it a better place. And if you watch the news, of course, you're going to see shit going on. So I recommend ditching the news because it's not really news. I recommend getting out in your communities. I recommend doing the things that you can do to serve yourself and serve the humanity and make it a better place, and disregard that other bullshit that's going on, because I find that people are more the same than we are different. We have passions. We may have differences of opinions, but ultimately we want to get to the same place in life for everybody. And I believe that. And I believe that especially for the younger generation. So we need to set the example, ladies and gentlemen. So appreciate you guys listening to that. We got Robert in the house. Robert is already saying, good evening, Christopher. Good evening, Robert. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you, brother. And just another, a little bit of a commercial. As you guys know, I'm on the board of directors for Help Heal Humanity. If you guys listening, helphealhumanity.org. Go check us out. We are passionate about what we can do to help heal humanity, no matter what part of the world we operate in. We operate in Canada, in Haiti, in US, and in Spain. We got another school that's going on in Cambodia. So we're interested and we're passionate about making sure that we can all collectively get together and help heal humanity. So if you feel called to donate your time, donate your resources, please give it a look, because I'm a part of that board of directors because of one reason. Well, a few reasons. Serena Buffalino, the CEO and the founder of that organization, is nonstop. Nobody takes a paycheck. All the money goes towards wherever it is that we're fighting for. So we built schools in Haiti, building schools in Cambodia. We're doing stuff here in the United States of America, making sure that we're taking care of our homeless vets, feeding our at-risk children, and just doing whatever we can to, educate our youth in what they can do and what the opportunities are for them to stand on their own 2 feet and create a life for themselves. So that's what we're a part of. And I just appreciate you guys. If you love the show, please go check it out. Donate what you can, because right now we're doing a couple of fundraisers and we would appreciate your support. So that's my ask of you. If you enjoy the show and you get value out of that, please do what you can, whether it's $5, $10, $100, $1,000, a car, a vacation spot to an island where I can go and relax, whatever it might be. I'm just kidding, that last part. So appreciate you guys being here. And we're going to be getting started here just in a few moments. So this conversation, I encourage you guys to take notes, write down some things that either myself or my guest are going to be sharing with you tonight, because the goal of tonight's conversation is to impact you. Again, like I said before, is to say things in such a way that hopefully it inspires you to think a little bit differently, because like I said, we have a responsibility in this world. And I've had a couple of conversations with my guests tonight, and we just dive in deep. We have respectful conversations and just to really seek first to understand, but moreover, just really use our voices and our passions to help inspire you guys to think a little bit differently. So without any further ado, we welcome to the Raw Unscripted Show, Mr. Steven Kimbrough. Steven Kimbrough, what's up, brother? How are you doing?
What's happening? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How's everything on your technical side over there?
So far so good, man. I was a little bit of a scramble. I had some errands to run, but I ran over a few cats and nuns to get here, and I'm here now, so I'm happy.
Well, I hope you didn't hurt the nuns. I mean, I hope you didn't hurt the cats.
They survived. They survived. They're all right. They're all right. Look, they walked it off. They walked it off.
That's good. That's good. So I'm excited to have this conversation with you, brother, because I know that you're very passionate about, speaking the truth and really educating people. You're a comedian, you're an actor, you're a writer, you're a producer, you're creating a documentary, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But my first question to you tonight, and just for everybody at home, we call him Kimbrough. His name's Steven Kimbrough, but we call him Kimbrough. So Kimbrough, I just want to make sure I set that out in the first place. But for the question I've been asking a lot of my guests recently is, what have you learned personally about the last 2 years about yourself and about the world around you? I know a lot of us have gone lockdown. We've done a lot of different things. We've had to do life differently. It's a pandemic. It's everything that we have never been prepared for. What has it meant for you in terms of your own personal growth and your view of the world?
Anytime you get a chance to be self-incarcerated, it forces you to learn a lot about yourself you didn't know. And when you get a chance to really, really slow down, when you're forced to slow down and learn yourself and study yourself and then analyze yourself, you realize you're not as cool as you thought you were. You're not as smart as you thought you were. You're not as hot as you thought you were. You really get a chance to do a lot of soul searching, a lot of self-evaluation, a lot of thinking, regrouping. You analyze the things that you thought were a serious priority. You analyze things that you thought were like earth-shattering. And when the dust and smoke settles, you realize, you're barking up the wrong tree. You're swimming upstream in the wrong direction. And it takes sometimes being forced to slow down and ask yourself, especially when you're facing a end of the world scenario, a doomsday scenario, and you're seeing people that you really like and love and respect that are dropping like flies around you, and you go, wow, do I really have this figured out? Am I really doing what I'm supposed to be doing here on this planet? Am I really making an impact on people? Am I really being the type of person that I seriously can look in the mirror at honestly? Because you're forced to when you're just you and you're just alone. Like, I'm single, divorced, the kids grown up, so I didn't have a pandemic buddy. I didn't have a pandemic hookup. I didn't have like a pandemic family member that we could just all hunker down together and watch Netflix,
Right.
I basically kind of did it on my own. I was solo. So when you are by yourself and you're isolated, you get a chance to really learn what the meaning of your life is. You don't have to really learn the meaning of life. You just need to learn the meaning of your life. And to answer your question, I learned a lot. Like I came out of it with a clear understanding of who I am, why I'm here, what the things that I've done in the past mean to me and other people. How can I reconnect with those folks that inspired me and motivated me, and how can I reconcile with those folks maybe I bulldozed over in my quest for fame and fortune? So you really take a harder look at what's really, really important, and then you soak in that for a minute to see what sticks.
Right.
And then you're stewing it. Yeah, you're stewing it. And then once you stew it for a month or so, then you can come out and draw a whole new blueprint of how you really want to be, how you really want to live, what you really want to do, and how you really want to influence people, and how you're handpicking people you want to influence you. And you come out of that with this sense of a rebirth, like you it's like you get do-overs. You get a whole new chance to really write the script on what you want to do and who you want to do it with and how you want to be. And all this stuff becomes incredibly exciting. And next thing you know, you're just like grinding away at a whole new list of things that actually mean a lot more than before. And you prioritize these real meanings of what your life is about. And the next thing you know, man, you're smiling 24/7 and you're having every day is a good day. You know, you wake up smiling all the time. You go to sleep, you know, with a smile on your face. You have great dreams. You have ambitious dreams. You have dreams you can breathe underwater and you can fly with no wings. It's just, it's crazy. Once your mind and your subconscious wraps its grips around, you know, your new kind of outlook on life, then it really becomes exciting and it becomes fun. And that's my short answer.
I love that, Kimbrough. I love that. There was a couple of places that you gave me to really jump off on that I would love to. So I'm going to try to remember most of them. But the one I want to jump off on first is you said that your priorities changed. Talk to us about that shift in priorities. Maybe what was a priority before and now what is that priority? What does it become?
Well, you know, my priority before was kind of like, okay, I need to be somebody that has a bigger name in all of the branches of entertainment that I'm a professional in. So my priority was to try to like build my brand, build my name, so that I could get in the mix with that A-list and really make a difference. And what I found is in that pursuit, you kind of lose track of what's really important to you, and you lose track of, you know, relationships, and you lose track of how to organize yourself and self-manage, and how to really have a balanced ecosystem in your entire world, from your finances to your health to your mental health and your relationships. And once you throw that priority away and you regroup, instead of 100% pursuing, trying to make a brand, trying to make a name, you split that. Now, you know, it's not 100% consumption. It's more like maybe 20%. And then I got 20% health, 20% mental health, 20% my finances, 20%. So out of the 100% of what was prioritized, I was able to basically squeeze that down into a shorter, it's still a priority. I still have, you know, those same ambitions and I still have those same goals. It's just not as consuming as it was before.
I love that. I love it. So you got clarity on what your meaning, your purpose, and your passion is in this life. Because for me, when I went through that transition, when I left corporate back in 2019, what we're talking about is our identity, right? You know, you think your identity is a construct of proving your validation and proving your worth and proving your significance. Oh, if I've got a bigger name or if I've got this, then I mean something. Then I could prove something to those people who said I was never going to be anything. I went through that same thing when I left corporate. It was like overnight, I was no longer that person anymore. I was like, okay, who the fuck am I? Right. And I sat there and I decided, and I'm like, it's not who I am. It's not who I get to be. It's who I am. And it's not about being somebody for somebody else. It's not having to fit a role anymore. It's not having to fit an identity. It's just about being Chris and being comfortable in Chris's skin. And that took me probably about 3 or 4 months of like kind of just jockeying in my brain going, okay, what is it? Because for me, as a coach, I want to figure it out so I can help other people come along that same path. And now as a result, I've been coaching a lot of people in their 40s and 50s and 60s who are now comfortably unmiserable because they're trying to figure out who the fuck they are. And they're like, I don't want to spend the rest of my life trying to figure out who I am. I want to just want to be who I am. And I said, and that's my advice to people, is just to be who you are and release all the outcomes and release all the results and the ego significance and just enjoy these moments. Because what the pandemic has taught me is that we don't get these moments. They're not guaranteed every single moment. And as I get older, I find myself thinking about that more and more. Talk to me about your legacy. What is it that you want people to know and believe most about Steven Kimbrough when your time comes?
Just that I was a dude who was always real and had the spirit to help, you know, and everybody that I run across in anything that I've ever done, I've always wanted to be that guy to kind of help them get to where they need to be, help them get a leg up. All my deals was designed to be a win-win so that you get something out of it. You win. I was able to help you with some little piece of your life that got you in a better place. So we're doing a documentary about my life. And so I'm reconnecting with a lot of these people. And when I ask them about what their Kimbrough experiences is, they come up with things that I completely and totally forgot about.
Nice.
And it really stuck with them forever. It's like, I remember the time where you did this for me and you did that for me, or we were doing this and you were hysterical. And I went to one of your shows and, it went upside down and you were eating it, but it was cool to kind of see you get up there and still be professional, even though, you had the flu or, things that you just forget. People remind you that their Kimbrough experience was something that was a positive thing and that was helpful. And the more that I hear that in the research of connecting with folks from my past, then I'm starting to get a little bit of a theme going. It's like, that subconscious need to want to help people actually is something that is registering on me now. And now it's more conscious. It's always been somewhat conscious, but it's been so subconscious that I don't always remember or recognize it as a conscious thing. So,
Right.
I just, that's kind of my legacy. Is like, I help people. When I get help, I pass it forward to somebody else. And, they may never see me again. I may never run into them, but they got love from me because I got love from somebody else.
Kimbrough, I love that. I love that. We got Jason Hill in the house. Guess we know who Jason is. He says, love
Jason,
it.
my
the
brother.
Owl app. OWWLL. Go check it out. The Owl app. Yeah, what you're talking about right now is I think about, in terms of our lives. And somebody asked me this not too long ago. They said, do you think you have any bad karma in any relationships? And I said, I really don't think so. I said, I'm friends with most of my exes. I said, I've wished everybody well. My sister, I wished well. And I mean that, I stopped talking to her in 2005. But he was asking me about this. And I was like thinking about, bad karma and whatnot. And then I was thinking about empathy and forgiveness in our journey. And sometimes when we reflect upon our journey, I'm writing my book right now about my memoir, about my mom and myself being homeless and everything. And I found as I've gotten older that there's a bigger place for empathy and forgiveness towards myself and towards other people who I thought had wronged me in the past. But what they actually did was they taught me a lesson. Have you experienced any of that in this kind of like reanalyzing who Steven Kimbrough is as far as empathy and forgiveness towards yourself and towards others? And talk to us about that.
Yeah, that through the decades of my life, that has definitely been something that I have recognized, where you think somebody is just doing you wrong and they're not looking out for your best interest. And then later you recognize it's like, wow, they were really looking out for me. And because of that, I'm a much better person. One of the things that comes to mind, like off the top of my head, is one of my diving coaches. I just thought, he was just riding my jock and just busting my chops. And, I'm like, this dude, man, what the hell's going on? But to be a diver, there's a lot of mental, there's a lot of psychological that you have to go to be in your head to be able to be a diver and just get on that board, hit that board and go into that trick and just be in slow motion in your mind. And, he was one of these dudes that, had his own little tricks and psychological plays on how to get me to do that. And I didn't understand, like, what the hell has this got to do with diving? I just want to get on the trampoline, do somersaults. I played basketball. I was a jock, so, I was on team sports. So like to be in a sport where there's no team, it's just only you on the diving board, there's nobody else. And you can't rely on anybody. You can't point your fingers at, it's like once you get on that board, it's just you. And the outcome of what's going to happen is 100% you. So, it took me a while years after I trained with him for it to sink in. It didn't really sink in until I became a high school coach, and I'm trying to get these, these young, little unruly, kids to try to get in a mindset, to see, feel, and execute a dive in a zone. And when you're distracted by 1,000 things, how do you slow a kid down and slow a kid's mind down so that they can see and feel every inch of what you're doing in slow motion in your head? Like, it didn't dawn on me until I actually started coaching high school myself that, this dude, now I get that. It's like, good looking out, bro.
Planting seeds. He was planting seeds.
How I feel. And my grandfather was that type too. He's an older dude, and he raised 2 families. So he's not really down to too much hands-on. He's like an old dude. So he would give me time capsule release wisdom that I would look at him cross-eyed and be like, what the hell are you talking about? It makes no sense at all. And then 10, 15, even 20 years, even today, I'll hear his voice and I'll be like, yo, Pops, yo, you. Now I get it. Now I understand. So yeah, I've had those moments. Yes, absolutely.
Wow. I love that. I mean, the growth that we go through as we continue to get older and wiser, I believe, is pretty amazing. I mean, I would never thought about having these types of conversations even 5 or 10 years ago. So thank you for partaking in that with me and sharing that with the audience. The next thing I want to talk to you about is, let's see, I have a couple of different jumping off points with you. Okay, let's go with this. Being a comedian, I think about being a comedian. I've had people tell me I should be a comedian, but I think about, not that I'm scared of it anymore, but I used to have this fear about being on stage. Talk to us about a big fear of yours and how you work through that, whether it was comedy, getting on stage. Talk to us about a fear that you experienced in your life and how you got over that, and maybe some of the ways that we can help the listeners at home and listening to this overcome some of their fears. Because I'm hearing that a lot. People are afraid of judgment. They're afraid of this. They're afraid of failure. They're afraid of, not measuring up. They're all different fears. So talk to us about one of yours and how we can help inspire some people at home.
I have a list. How much time do we have?
We got all the time you want. We got 27 more minutes.
Yeah. Comedy is one of those things that makes you regular. The butterflies that you have in your stomach turn into dragonflies, and those dragonflies make you go to the bathroom before you go on stage, just because you're so nervous, and there's so many things to be nervous about. And you want that nervous energy. You always want it. I've been in the business for 40 years and I never want to lose it. I still today, when I go on stage, I feel nervous. I feel a little bit anxious, and I like that and I want that, and I kind of thrive on that. But the fears that I had, I always was the kid that was into the limelight. So to get the attention was something that did not scare me. To get on the microphone and have my voice amplified so everyone could hear it was something that I was not afraid of. So those two things worked to my advantage in pushing through the other fears that I developed when I got into this business. Fear number one, the stuff that you write is your original stuff in your own mind, from your own insecurities and vulnerabilities. And are they going to laugh at them? Because if they don't laugh, you just exposed yourself and you didn't even get a laugh from it. So imagine soul searching to be organic and real and original and be vulnerable and humble with your most personal idiosyncrasies, only to find out that nobody laughs at it. So that fear is huge. That fear is something that makes you hear your own heartbeat in your own head. You're like, you're like, what's that noise? Oh, that's my heart. That's fear. You're like,
I got a visual on it.
The audience is like, oosh, 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 oosh. It's like your whole body is just like all your chemicals are firing off, and you're just, you're freaking out. That's one fear. The other fear is,
how do you work through that? How did you work through that?
Well, let me tell you some of the other fears, and then I tell you how I worked through all of it.
Gotcha.
Let me give you kind of like two more.
Gotcha.
So the other fear is, am I going to remember this stuff that I wrote? because there's no teleprompters, there's no screen, there's no anything. You have to remember. So I would write
gives me
little notes in
anxiety.
my hand, and I would be like, every once in a while, I kind of take a glance at a word that would remind me of a bit I could go into. I put notes in the bottom of my cup with no water in it. I go to get a drink and I just read the bottom of the cup.
That's
And
smart.
then I get back on track. And I remember one time I had my cup on stage, and I was doing a college, and the college students with the handles, they wanted to make sure that I got everything and I was comfortable. So they had flowers in my room, they had candy. I put my cup on the stage. They came and they put a bottle of water in my cup. And I'm like, it's like all of the ink just dissolved on the paper. And I'm like, where am I? What I got to do now? And I'm scrambling in my head trying to find out where I am. But I'm gonna give you a show that I did that I really went through all the fears, because once you become a professional comedian, another one of your fears is, are you going to get paid, and are they going to book you again? So you always want to do a good job so they pay you, and then you want to do a good enough job so they want you to come back. So you got like those fears in the mix. So this show, I was doing a college tour, and I got booked at St. Francis College in Joliet, Illinois. It's a all-girls female Catholic school.
Oh boy.
And that's redundant. All girls, female. I don't know why I had to say female, because I'm already nervous telling the story. That's how nervous I was then. I'm having a nervous flashback right now. All girl and female is the same thing. So we go to these schools, they give you a blue sheet. The blue sheet is a list of everything they don't want you to do. So when I got booked, I have a videotape of my set. And so the students will come up and they'll look at the videotape, and they will decide if it's rated enough for their school. Some schools, they want G-rated. Some schools can be PG-13, some PG-17, some full adult, some straight up X. It just depends on the school and the city and the culture and the students and the staff and the deans. Some schools, they don't care. They're like, comedians come in and say what they want. Other schools, they got this whole list of what they don't want you to do. So St. Francis College in Joliet, they gave me this sheet. Now, half the stuff on this sheet is in my set. And I'm like, wait a minute.
How long before you go on?
I got the sheet like 10 minutes before I'm supposed to go on.
Oh.
So, and I'm doing an hour. So I'm looking at the stuff, and I have about 90 minutes of material. If you want it all clean, I could strip that down to about 45 minutes, all clean, just clean. So if I have a show that's G-rated, I can kind of play with the audience for 15 minutes and then go into my 45-minute show, and then I got my hour and I fulfill my contract. But this was like half. This stripped out almost like 35 minutes of my set, and I'm freaking out now.
Do I know show tunes?
Yeah, I'm just going, what can I do? Like, shadow puppets, sock puppets, like, what, like, what am I going to do? Do I know any songs?
Nursery rhymes. Andrew Dice Clay's
Do I know any
nursery
shuffle? So I'm like in my head trying to pull up like jokes I didn't do before that I think might work, but I haven't done those in years. So I'm trying to literally stitch together a show, an hour show in my head 10 minutes before I'm supposed to go on. Now, the crowd is packed. I look outside the curtain. There must have been like 2,000 girls in an auditorium, excited and waiting for the show. And you can hear the buzz and the murmur.
No opener, just you?
No opener, just me. And I'm going, man, it's like the energy is there, but I'm like handcuffed with the materials. Like, what am I going to do? Because I had all this stuff I was going to do that was a little bit edgy, but I thought was okay. But on that sheet, it was like, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that.
Ooh, I'll go big or go home.
So I'm behind the curtain, and the clock feels like it's just grinding, like the seconds, the minutes are just flying because I'm trying to come up with something. I look out in the audience again, and I can see that this is going to be one of those shows that, if I could be able to do what I wanted to do, I would kill. But now that my hands are tied, I hope I can get through this. So, so the nun comes out on the stage. Now I'm behind the curtain. The curtain's closed.
Is that the joke?
No, this is for real.
The nun comes out on the stage.
The nun comes out on the stage, but and nun walks into a bar. So I am, so I'm behind stage, and I still haven't figured out what I'm going to do. So now I'm just thinking in my head, I'm thinking I'm going to go out there, freeze up, not know what to say, and just walk off the stage, be like, you can have the check. Cause this is,
you were really thinking that. You were really believing that.
I was thinking, yes, I'm going to have to just bail on this, because I would rather bail on it than to eat it and have that circulate through the college. Because don't forget, I'm on a college tour, and each college gives a review of how your show was. And if you don't show up, you get the don't show up, but it's not like if you eat it. When you eat it, then the other colleges, they're a little bit leery about booking you. But if you don't show, it could be anything. Could be sickness, could be flu, could be an emergency, could be like whatever. So, I mean, I could be like, oh, my stomach, I got the flu, so I had to like bail or whatever. I could be sick. I could call in sick. So the murmur of the crowd like starts to come down, because the nun is like, okay, girls, we're about to start the show. It's like, girls, it was like that time, and then all of a sudden they went from like murmuring to complete silence. You could hear a pin drop. So nun goes through like the school announcements, and we got to this and we got to that and all the stuff, and it's only her talking, and the sound is beautiful in this auditorium. I mean, they had a beautiful sound because they're giving sermons and they're doing lectures. So the sound system in there was great. The seats were great. It was a beautiful, beautiful theater. And then she goes, okay, now for your comedy entertainment, ladies and gentlemen, or ladies, put your hands together for Steven Kimbrough. And they just clapped and they roared and they screamed. It was like a rock star concert kind of welcome. So
you're farting your way to the stage.
Yeah. So I'm feeling this juxtaposition of man, this is really cool, welcome, but yet I feel like I want to shit my pants.
Right. I'm with you. I feel you.
So the curtains open up, and what wasn't there was a row of nuns in the front row. And it didn't dawn on me that why are the front row is empty? You got 2,000 people in the auditorium. Why don't they put the front people in the front row? And when they opened the curtain, there literally was a gauntlet wall of nuns, about 30 nuns sitting in the front row, and the girls were behind them. And I was like, now I'm really freaking out. And they're all like this. Just looking at me. Like if you say one thing, you are like a dead man on the cross. I was just going, oh my God. I walk out there, it's dead silence. I look at the crowd, I take a big breath, and I go, I've been on tour with these colleges, and I was a little nervous coming here. I got to be honest. And I got butterflies in my stomach right now. I am like, this is the most nervous I've ever been at any show ever. But since I got my sisters in the front row, I feel right at home. And the nuns broke out laughing. And the girls screamed with laughter. And the nuns were all laughing. And then when I got the nuns laughing, then I just basically went into each of the nuns and talked about what course they taught. And then I did a little improv joke on that course. And then I had the reinforcement of the girls, and then they would scream and laugh and cheer. And that became my set. My set became like finding out what the nuns teach, make a little joke about it, and then go into the audience to be like, hey, are you guys learning anything from this class? And I'd make a little joke on that. And it was one of those things where I salvaged a near-death situation, a near-bail situation, because I was heads up enough and my brain was like just searching for anything to open with. And then it hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm Black. The nuns are sisters in Black habits. If I referred to them as like sisters from the hood, that's going to be funny.
Yes.
And it worked. So to answer your question, sometimes you have to just go through a rapid fire warp speed just search of your index of jokes and one-liners and improvisational things, and you're just assessing the situation as fast as you can, and you're just trying to find something that you can make fun of to break the ice to get that first laugh. And that's one of my tricks, is just to scan and observe. And the more experience you have with the shows, the more index cards of things you can pull from that you've used in the past that work. There's a lot of one-liners. There's a lot of comeback jokes, like dead joke comebacks that you can do. You know, there's a whole lot of stuff that you can just, you know, just go through that Rolodex as fast as you can, grab it, say it, get the laugh. Once you get that first laugh, you can relax. And because I now had like a new way to go, I now could relax. And because I needed to fill an hour, I had a lot of air between what I was saying. I slowed down. I let all of the laughter trickle to like silence. And I burned a lot of minutes in between the laughs and the punchlines and the tags, because I'm trying to kill time.
You're thinking on your feet. You're being resourceful, man. I mean, that's the crux. That's the crux of what I get out of your situation. I had to do the same thing when I was recently in Chicago for a speaking event. They said, "Oh, you're going to do this and you're going to do this and you're going to do that." We get there. There was no way that was going to work. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I'm already here. You know, they paid me. I'm doing this thing, but I got to do something else. And I was like, okay, what am I good at? I'm good at interviewing people. So let's get the speakers from the stage. We're going to interview them. It's going to be a special treat for the people at home on the pay-per-view, blah, blah, blah. Went down and told the guy, this is what we're going to do. He's like, okay, go do it. And I did it, set up the chairs, set up the cameras, the lighting, boom, went into it. And the speakers had a blast. The people at home thought about it, was great. And what they were going to have me to do was like, this is way better. So, I mean, we got to be able to think on our feet. We got to be able to have trust our instincts and our intuition, right? I mean, you got to jump.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You got to jump. Yeah. So because you're a comedian and because we don't have all the hours in the world, I want to ask you this question. We kind of danced around it in different conversations I've been on your show. The state of comedy right now, the state of cancel culture, the state of, we just saw what happened to Dave Chappelle. Of course, we know the slap around the world. We know different things that are happening. In your opinion, as a comedian, I know you're doing your documentary. Is there a line? Is there a line that we cannot any longer cross in comedy, or do we need to just get people to realize that it's fucking comedy and not to take it so seriously? What are your thoughts on that, man?
The lines that are made are determined on the situation that is presented in each specific show. So comedy and freedom of speech in general, there is no line. There is no line. We are Americans. We have freedom of speech. We should be able to exercise that with no consequence of being hurt or being slapped or being tackled or stabbed or shot. We should be able to say what we want to say to get what we want, whether it's artistic expression or whether it's your political belief or whether you just want to do dad jokes out of your ass, and you should be able to say it. The problem is we don't have a society that is sophisticated enough, evolved enough, and has enough critical thinking to understand that these are jokes. This is entertainment. This is to get you to laugh. Court gestures is the last defense of truth in any society. And you go back to the Dark Ages, the court gesture was the one who told truth about the royal family, who told truth about things that were in their villages, different personalities. And depending on who was in charge, if they didn't like that, they killed that guy. And they could do it. So there is a line depending on the situation, and the people who put the situation together put the lines there. But that's because they have sponsors, or they have a community they want to adhere to, or that community is supporting them, and they have a guideline of what they want to hear and what they don't want to hear. And if anything happens or said outside that guideline, then they're going to have their cancel culture fingers ready to go. So they put the lines. So we as human beings and networks and churches and groups and banks and races, we put the lines out there, and those lines could be anywhere. And if comedians cross them, then they cross their line. But these are human manufactured lines that are put there in a society where we're supposed to have freedom of speech, and there should be no lines.
Right.
So yes, we do cross the line as comedians, but at the same time, we shouldn't have to have a line there in the first place. But we understand it's your money, it's your group. These are, your church moms, and they have their hypocritical, self-righteous way of seeing things, and they're going to take offense to any subject matter that has to deal with this. So we get that. We're professional, and we're like, okay, you draw the line, you're paying us, we'll be professional to stay within this line. And if we do, then you can pay us. And then we move on to the next show where there are no lines, and we can be as free as we want. And those are the shows we love, because we can be free. And cancel culture is getting out of style. Cancel culture is cool only to that niche of people who think it's cool. And just because a handful of them happen to be gatekeepers in the industry, or happen to be, in an influential spot on a network or at a movie studio or whatever, it doesn't mean that they rule all and run all.
Right.
This is a trend, and that trend is getting old and tired. And when you go to a comedy club, there's a whole new anti-cancel culture of material that's out there, and the audience is loving it. And anybody who is cancel culture that in that show feels like an idiot, because the jokes are so exaggerated to the ridiculous on how ridiculous it is to be part of cancel culture, to where you sit in that audience and you don't want people to know that you participated in canceling somebody's livelihood, because it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So there is a movement, and cancel culture is there. People are, bum rushing the stage because it's a copycat. What happened to Dave Chappelle was definitely inspired by what happened with Chris Rock. And, you already know my take on that. And I'm just saying,
well, let us know what your take is on it now, because now there's been some time that's passed. We've heard different conversations. Has your opinion changed at all from what we originally talked about?
No, my opinion is still the same. I still stand by the fact that the joke was a throwaway joke that was a funny, positive spin on female struggle. So the reference of the joke was Jada Pinkett with her bald head. He didn't know that she had alopecia. All he knows is the movie G.I. Jane with Demi Moore. She had to shave her head for the military to become a Navy SEAL officer. So to me, she was compared to a character who was a female that had her head shaved against all odds against men in the military, and she won.
And badass.
She was badass. So number one, to have a joke where you're compared to a character, and that character is a negative character, I can see where you might be like, that's you know what, you're making me look bad because that character is not seen in a good light. But if you do
like,
a
where's
joke
Waldo?
and you compare, you're compared to a positive character. Now the joke has a positive punchline, positive spin, you can't take offense to that because you just were compared to another woman who was in a situation that had to overcome men in the military who did not want her to be there, and she's the only one there, and she triumphed. So for me, the joke itself was a positive joke for women who triumphed in a male misogynist dominated environment and won. So that's number one. If you analyze the joke to me, that's why I feel that joke was an offensive joke, because it wasn't a joke about women having alopecia and looking like a bowling ball, and he just left it there.
Right.
It wasn't. That would have been taken as negative, and that has more of a negative spin on it. So I can see. But even if he said that, he's up there presenting an award on the #1 award presentation on the planet. See, I forgot to get my water.
Getting you all choked up. Here you can have.
Yeah, thanks.
You're just in LA. You're only like 6 hours away.
Yeah.
No, it's actually a 45-minute drive.
So you have the largest platform on the planet, and there are no jokes on that show that aren't approved by the Oscars. So
I heard that now.
They police that show and the content of that show like to the letter. So to have nobody be on that stage to be ready to be like, wait a minute, Will's walking to the stage, that's not in the script. Somebody needs to meet him at the stage and be like, what are you doing? We're doing a live TV professional show with the highest honor of your peers. So what are you doing? And you meet Will Smith and you just like, you walk him back to his seat, number one. Number two, that didn't happen. So he slaps him. In my opinion, the Oscars should have immediately shut that down. A stage manager with the Madonna headset and the clipboard should have came out and said, sorry, folks, this is not part of our show. This is not what we do. We didn't script this. We didn't approve this. We're going to go to a commercial. When we come back, we're going to resume our regularly scheduled program. And they come back, and Will and Jada are not sitting there. They're out. They're out. And when it comes to the award, he was definitely going to win. He definitely got the votes. It's already in. You have an Oscar representative come out and say, we will accept this award on behalf of Will Smith. And thank you very much. And then they go and they decide what they're going to do, if they're going to suspend him, take back the award, do whatever they need to do. But the integrity of the show needs to have the people running the show execute things that keep the integrity of the show. I mean, the Nobel Peace Prize, if Gandhi and Mother Teresa was the same thing and Mother Teresa came up and smacked Gandhi, they'd be like, the Nobel Peace Prize be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. The word peace is in the prize.
Yep.
What are you guys doing? This is a nonviolent thing. This is like the Nobel Peace Prize award. You can't be coming up here smacking people. So we're gonna take you both. You going home. You're going home. They're like you're no longer eligible for any peace prize because you just can't walk on stage and smack people. So, I want to close with the fact that I thought Chris was the ultimate professional, and
he did.
He showed basically what we go through on a daily basis. I've had people come to up on my stage at least 4 times in my career.
Oh, dude, what was that like? I mean, did you deck them?
I pushed them back into the audience. A couple people I didn't have to do anything. I just basically roasted them, and I gave them a chance to like defend themselves in the roast. And then they looked so bad, they just went back and grabbed their stuff and just walked out, and the crowd cheered. A couple times I had some Navy sailors from in Bermuda when I was doing the Bermuda Comedy Club came on. I kicked one down and I hit the other one with the microphone in the head, and it looked like slapstick comedy. People thought it was part of the show. They thought it was like a Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin film. and then security guards had to walk those guys out. But yeah, it happens. You know, you're heckled. You got disruptive audiences. You got drunk bachelorette parties. You got, angry drunk guys. You got, just all kinds of people that are in the audience who feel entitled to disrupt the show, heckle you, try to come up, grab the mic. And that's just part of the business that happens.
Jeez, that is crazy. You're not selling me on it, man. You're not selling me on it, Kimbrough. We've already been talking for 50 minutes, man. We could easily talk for hours and hours and hours. And I look forward to doing that with you one day. What message, because I know you're so passionate about this, what message do you have for the youth of America? If the youth of America are watching this, and sometimes we actually have youth, and I say youth, teenagers in their 20s, what would you say to the youth of America right now and what they can do to help end the divisiveness and the rhetoric and start to create bridges and build those bridges between people that they perhaps may disagree with? What advice would you have for our youth of America?
I would say slow down and listen to wise people and really seek wisdom and listen and slow down, because in that you're going to find empathy for other people. You're going to find how you can share yourself. You're going to find the biggest reward that you can give yourself and humanity in this universe and this planet is how you can help and give to people. And the more you can do that, the better everything is going to be, because it automatically, by osmosis, forces bridges to be built, forces bonding. It forces you to kind a relationship with people who check other boxes than you. And you understand in that gathering of wisdom how to agree to disagree. Yes. But at the same time, you also learn how to, in disagreement, to agree on something. So we need to have more people learn how to be in disagreement, but let's agree on something. Yes. If we can have a rule, where if you allow me to disagree on whatever you have to say, if I want to do it for fun or if I want to do it because that's where I'm really coming from, if you can allow me to do that, then let's at the same time allow each other to agree on something and not the disagreement. Okay, so we can agree to disagree, but let's agree to agree on something. So that means we don't leave each other until we find something that we agree upon, and then we can leave.
Yeah.
Because we can have 1,000 disagreements and we've already set the rules. We can agree to disagree. You cool with that? Cool, pound. Okay, I disagree with that, disagree with that. It's been 12 hours. We haven't agreed on nothing. Disagree with that. Okay, so what is it that we do agree on? Okay, this. Okay, now we can leave. And if more people had that as a rule in their perspective, in their life, in their point of view, in their disposition, in their perspective, in their outlook, then what's going to happen is people are going to find more things to agree with. And they're going to look at some of those things that they disagree with, and they're going to be like, which one of these things can I sacrifice to agree with? Because I want to agree with something.
Right.
And then the more you agree on something, there's a feel good on that walk away. Now you're going to come back and you're going to find you're going to be proactive in searching for more things that you actually can agree upon. And you're going to start modifying your position on some things so that you can agree with them. And guess what's going to happen on the other side? The same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, instead of all these things that you disagree with, they slowly start to drop out. And the next thing you know, you're in agreement on half the stuff. Once you're in agreement on half the stuff, we're on a road trip. We can be in a car together across the country for thousands of miles, because we got something to talk about, something that we agree upon. We're kindling our spirits. We're exchanging socks.
I don't know if I'm gonna go that far, but yeah, I mean, that's what I love about you, Kimbrough. Keep doing that, man, because we need to have more conversations like that. I've been talking to people, and I'm going to invite you to, I can't remember if you have something going on tomorrow night. I think you do, but I'm going to do I do my men's room in Clubhouse, and you and I have been on Clubhouse. I'm going to do my men's room tomorrow night on the recent leak about Roe v. Wade from a men's standpoint. So I'd love to have you that conversation tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I'm like, okay, let's go into this. Let's go deep into this because that's something that I know is on top of mind for you as well as me. So we can't do it in this particular show, but we could definitely do it in Clubhouse. And I just so appreciate your honesty, your transparency, your humor, definitely bringing your humor, and just being an all-around great guy. I mean, I've got a chance to know you and just really appreciate you. We're both here in Southern California. So I appreciate you being here on the show. Definitely want to have you back and explore more topics and conversations because I love how you bring the like-minded, opportunity that we can see from our differences, how we can grow together and how we can find commonality, and instead of the divisiveness and the bullshit and the rhetoric that's going on and whatever news media we want to choose to follow. So thank you, brother, for being here for that. And where can people get a hold of you to continue the conversation with you?
You can catch me at podbrother.com for my comedy. You can catch me at Podbrother Nation for my podcast. My drive-in film festival is on Film Freeway. That's July 17th. If you have a short film or a podcast or a music video you want to enter, go to filmfreeway.com on that. And I'm in a movie on Amazon called Introducing Jodea. I play a first AD, and I got a lot of attitude in that film. So I'm on Amazon. I got a film festival on Film Freeway, and you can see my comedy on podbrother.com. And also my podcast and my live comedy is going to be at the Comedy Chateau in North Hollywood. And if you want to go to the website to see me there, it's thecomedychateau.com. And I'm also on the OWL app, and my podcast, which I did with you, is the podowl.com. So I got a couple things going on, and I appreciate you having me on the show. Thank you very much. And last thing but not least is I have a comedy workshop on May 21st. And if you go to podbrothernation.com or podbrothernation.club, you can find out more how you can be as funny as I am, because I teach the class. It's a 1 day, 8-hour comedy workshop, and you can find it on podbrothernation.club. Thanks, Chris.
I'm going to have to check that out myself and see if I've got a bunch of stuff coming up in the next 6 weeks, but I would definitely love to be there with you in that opportunity. So I'm going to place you backstage here for a second and close out the show, but don't go anywhere. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Cool. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Steven Kimbrough, comedian, actor, director, humanitarian, trying to spread the opportunities for all of us and what we can do in our own lives. And that's what I want for you guys in this conversation. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us. I just want to capture some of the comments here. I didn't get a chance to do this because what Steven was saying was just absolutely brilliant. We got Jeff in the house, Jeff Franklin. He says, "What up, ref?" I'm guessing that's a term of endearment for Steven. And Andrew's in the house. He says, "No fun in comedy anymore. Should be, but not unfortunate, but is unfortunate, not unfortunate." We got Robert in the house. Thank you for being here, Robert. Mary Kay is in the house. Thank you, Mary Kay, for being here. I got Jason Hill in the house. He says, 2 rock stars. Check it out. The OWL app. You guys got to check it out. We got Maria in the house. She says, "I preach." Yes, Maria, thank you for being here. And yes. Totally agree. Positive spin to people who show off to be cut up. Absolutely. Thank you guys for just being here. And what I want to ask you guys to do is to take this opportunity. If you've got value out of this show, share this out, because the point of this is to help enlighten all of us to have these conversations, to sit there and think about our past, present, and our future differently, so that we can actually have different outcomes. And I love what Kimbrough said, the fact that he took these last 2 years and got to know himself better and got to reprioritize some of the things in his life and realize that it's not about the egocentric stuff that we're always going for. It's really about the moments and the impact that we can have, so that when we're gone, our legacy will live on. We're not going to live on. We're not going to live forever, but the legacy that we leave can live on. So I inspire each and every one of you guys to think about your legacy. And if you haven't done it yet, you guys know I talk about it. Write your eulogy. I'm your no excuses coach. Go out there, write your eulogy. Because when I did it back in 2008, I walked away knowing that Christopher Rausch will have fought for what was right and what was fair. And Christopher Rausch will have risked for which that mattered. And he will have left the earth a better place for who he was and what he did. Those words fire me up every single day. When I wake up, I set the intention to fulfill that legacy. I go to bed at night and I say my thank yous to God, source, universe for the fact that I did exactly what I intended on doing. And every single day it builds upon it. And that's what I want for you guys. That's what I want for you guys. Don't wake up tomorrow in scarcity and lack and fear. Wake up tomorrow in opportunity and advancement and growth, and think about, what can I do from this? What am I making this to mean about me? You know, is this moving me closer to or further from my stated goals? You guys ask the right questions and you get the right answers, and you will continue to be kick-ass unstoppable. We'll see you guys here next Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, live with myself or with a guest, designed here to be raw and unscripted with you guys. I love you guys. Go out there, be kick-ass.